Hey, how's everyone doing? It's your boy Jeff. My co-host Zach Cooper and I are going to be reviewing Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in the first time ever, Hell in a Cell match. And look, man, Zach Cooper was telling me that this is a personal favorite of his. I can't wait to look at his review. Hopefully you guys enjoy mine as well. Very excited. You know, whenever there's a first time anything, you don't know what to expect. Right? So, here we go. Shawn Michaels is backstage. He says that there is good news and bad news. The good news is that his title is not on the line. He can leave here European champion regardless of the consequences. The bad news is he's locked inside of Hell in a Cell with the dead man, The Undertaker. Shawn says that he doesn't need any help or whatever. Like, he'll go at it alone, and he's the most tenacious competitor in the business. The hype package before the match really keyed in on Shawn Michaels' heel turn and like how it all began with that steel chair and how for Shawn Michaels image is everything. And yeah, the way you do present yourself does matter in WWE. Your packaging, all that. So you know what? That's a fair point. Good job, Michael Cole, who did the voiceover for the hype package. Commissioner Slaughter and the ref are checking under the ring to make sure that there's no way in or out of the cell or to enter the ring or anything like that. Shawn Michaels comes out first with Hunter, China, and insurance policy Rick Rude. And Undertaker ends up coming out second. The ref then locks the cell and locks everyone out except for the competitors. Taker is kind of giving chase early with an intimidating walk to chase off Shawn Michaels. The match begins with Undertaker hitting a big boot early to start things off. Taker goes for a chokeslam attempt early, but Shawn ends up countering and gains control until Taker whips him into the corner, and he does his, where he kind of almost flips out of the ring, sort of, and then Taker ends up clotheslining him. Taker hits an old school. It actually worked this time, no counter. Followed by a power slam and a leg drop. Shawn would end up kicking out, and then Taker ends up hitting a back body drop shortly thereafter. Taker hits multiple punches, then throws Shawn out of the ring. They go outside of the cage, and Taker starts to choke him out, holding him up against the cage like this, like a bully in middle school, and Shawn ends up poking him in the eye. Shawn then tries to climb the inside of the cage. He's that desperate to get away from Taker, but Taker pulls him down and launches him into the cage and clotheslines Shawn, and he ends up doing that same sequence again pretty much without pulling him down. Taker then goes for the last ride, but Shawn kind of punches his way out of it by holding onto the cage. But Taker would kind of regain control by launching Shawn back into the cell, I believe. And he then would hit multiple strikes and bounce Shawn off of the ring post and bouncing him off of the cell repeatedly, just kind of using him as like a weapon of mass destruction, basically, just bouncing him all over the place. Shawn would then counter some sort of like long dart attempt into the cell. He would counter that, but Taker ends up clotheslining him, and then Taker whips Shawn into the cage and tries to clothesline him again, but Shawn dodges and punches Taker down to the ground in the mount position, and then he dives onto Taker on the outside of the ring. He then climbs up the cell like a little bit and kind of launches himself down into an elbow drop, which I gotta say, pretty good spot, something you weren't seeing every day in 1997. Shawn is beating down Taker with the steel steps, and then he hits a pile driver onto the steps and goes back into the ring after you hear multiple curse words getting bleeped out. I assume there were F-bombs. Shawn then grabs a chair from the outside, and the crowd is getting hot for it because obviously the story here is it all began with a chair shot to The Undertaker. So Shawn grabs the chair, and he cracks Undertaker in the back multiple times. Shawn would ultimately go for the cover, and Taker kicks out at 2. Shawn would then wrap Taker into the ropes, wrap up both of his arms, so he's like kind of vulnerable. Then he goes to run and attack him. Taker ends up hitting a big boot, and then he frees his right arm out and is able to toss Shawn over the ropes, but in the process, he takes out a cameraman. I don't get Shawn's beef with this cameraman. He literally saved you from hitting the turf. He basically took the fall for you. But Shawn assaults this cameraman, and the ref has to cool him down, but then Shawn goes outside and beats him up some more. And then the official photographer for WWF is checking in on this cameraman to see, like, hey, get him some help, get him some help. And then Shawn hits a flying forearm and his signature kick up onto the Undertaker in the ring while this is happening. Commissioner Slaughter then comes down to open up the cell to get this cameraman out of there. While that's going on, Shawn ends up hitting his elbow drop. The cell would then open up shortly thereafter, and they would help the cameraman out or whatever. Shawn would then hit his sweet chin music, but like literally 5 seconds after, Taker does his signature sit-up and gives chase to Shawn Michaels. Shawn sees the opening. The cell is open. I'm free. I can get out. I can escape. Taker follows in suit, though, and he drives Shawn into the cage multiple times, or into the cell multiple times. Shawn is able to hit a low blow to get a little momentum momentarily, and then he starts climbing to the top of the cell. Look, I know this is 1997. Future reference, though, if you climb to the top of the cell, bad things are bound to happen. As you'll find out in 1998, I believe, with the Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell match, which I can pretty much guarantee we're going to review that. Taker then tries to pull down Shawn as he's trying to climb up. I think Shawn just kicks him in the head and keeps on climbing. Taker then would follow in suit. He hits a back body drop and then a body slam, and then tosses Shawn near the ledge on top of that cell. Taker then stomps on both hands, which sends Shawn Michaels flying through the announce table. And Taker then climbs down and kind of gives chase to Shawn Michaels again. Taker would then toss Shawn. I put in my notes, Taker tosses Taker. Yeah, this isn't Undertaker versus fake Undertaker, I promise. But Taker would toss Shawn onto another announce table and then toss him back on the floor. And then ultimately Taker and Shawn would work their way back into the Hell in a Cell entrance. And Taker would basically toss him back in. The refs lock the door or whatever. Taker then hits a clothesline. And then he goes to the top, or puts Shawn on the top rope or top turnbuckle, and hits a super choke slam. Taker then goes outside and grabs his own steel chair. So it's poetic justice, according to Vince McMahon, I believe, on commentary. By the way, JR was super good on commentary. I love the emotion he brought to this match. Taker would then crack Shawn in the head with a steel chair. By this point, Shawn was already busted open, crimson face, the whole nine. But then the lights go out, and we see the debut of Sir Isaac Yankem. We see the debut of Kane, but fake Diesel, Sir Isaac Yankem. Ladies and gentlemen, we get the official debut of Kane. They've been building it up for a little while within different stories involving The Undertaker and whatnot. Kane finally makes his debut next to Paul Bearer. Kane rips down the cage door. He tosses the official. Kane and Undertaker have the epic face-to-face encounter. Kane does the whole lifts his arms and then boom, fire appears. Love that. Kane has superpowers too, damn it. And Kane ends up hitting The Undertaker with a tombstone pile driver. The job has been done. Kane and Paul Bearer leave. I think Paul Bearer is like waking up the ref or whatever. And the ref crawls back into the ring, and Shawn Michaels crawls into the cover. And Shawn would get the 1, 2, 3 with Kane's tombstone pile driver. After the match, we see insurance policy Rick Rude, Hunter, and Chyna come down to help Shawn. Taker is trying to recover in the ring. And the show ends and scene. So, was this a 5-star match? Was this a 10 out of 10 on Zach Cooper's rating scale? No. But it's a 4.5 out of 5. It was really good. Is this the best Hell in a Cell match that I've ever seen? That's a different story for a different day. But this was really freaking good. Not quite 5 out of 5 for me, but it was really damn good. Both guys, like I said, just have incredible chemistry, and you're going to find that out over the years. Even when Shawn Michaels makes his second run in WWE, cannot wait to get into their WrestleMania matches, because those, if I get first pick, that's my pick. I'm picking Undertaker, Shawn Michaels in those WrestleMania matches, but they work so well together. They have the chemistry. You have the storytelling with the two chairs. Both guys getting their own chair. You have Kane making his debut. You have basically everything you need in a Hell in a Cell match. It was really damn good. It was a great match. Was it a 5-star classic? Personally, no for me, but it's really damn good, and I recommend this match to anyone. Hey, you're trying to get into wrestling? You're trying to get into the extreme side of wrestling or whatever? You're trying to see not just your typical one-on-one match? Definitely check out the first ever Hell in a Cell match. But hopefully you guys enjoy. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone by not giving it a 5-star. But it's just my personal opinion, man. It is what it is. Y'all take care. Go check out Zach's review, and we'll be moving on to Survivor Series after this.